Second Officer Charles Henry Gale stood gripping the forward rail of the Boston's bridge walkway with white-knuckled hands as the storm battered the steamer through the darkness of the channel. The sea had become savage. Towering waves exploded directly over the bow in solid walls of black water, hammering the iron hull with impacts that shuddered through the entire vessel. Spray blasted high above the foredeck like cannon smoke before being torn sideways by screaming winds. Each time the Boston climbed a sea, her bow seemed to rise toward the sky itself, before plunging violently into the next black trough with enough force to rattle every plate and rivet in her hull. Gale squinted desperately into the storm. Beyond the ship's lantern glow, there was nothing but endless darkness and rain. The lookout crew had long since abandoned the exposed bow platform. Conditions there had become suicidal. Now the men clung instead to the narrow catwalks beside the pilot house, lashed to railings while seawater crashed continuously across the decks below. Inside the pilot house, Captain J.R. Barber wrestled the wheel while the Boston fought to keep her bow pointed into the monstrous seas. "Keep her steady," Barber shouted. Another wave struck hard against the port bow, throwing spray completely over the wheelhouse windows. The vessel lurched violently. "We're losing headway," First Officer Daniel Pierce shouted above the storm. The captain glanced toward the engine telegraph. "Full steam ahead." Pierce grabbed the brass handle instantly and slammed the telegraph forward to full. Far below deck, deep inside the swaying furnace heat of the engine room, Chief Engineer Malcolm Hargreaves heard the bell clang through the machinery noise. "Full ahead," he roared to his firemen. "Feed the boilers." Half-naked stokers shoveled coal furiously into blazing furnaces, while steam pressure climbed higher beneath the pounding rhythm of the engines. Above them, the storm continued to worsen. Charles Henry Gale wiped seawater from his eyes and forced himself to keep searching the blackness ahead. Somewhere out there, other ships could be fighting the same storm blindly through the channel. Then, a flicker. Red. Gale froze. At first, he thought it was lightning reflecting strangely through rain, but then he saw it again. A tiny red glow directly ahead, almost lost between the crashing waves. The second officer narrowed his eyes against the rain. Another flicker. Christ! He turned instantly and raced down the iron ladder toward the forward deck for a clearer view. The storm hit him like a hammer. Rain slashed sideways hard enough to sting his face raw while waves burst across the deck around his legs. The ship pitched violently beneath him as he fought his way forward, grabbing lifelines to avoid being hurled overboard. Reaching the bow, Gale stared into the blackness. Nothing. Only storm. Then the Boston climbed high atop a massive wave, and there it was again, a red light, faint, low against the water, then gone. Another flicker followed moments later before vanishing behind crashing seas. Gale's stomach tightened. A vessel crossing ahead. He spun and sprinted back through the storm toward the pilot house. Bursting through the door, half drowned in seawater, he shouted above the roar of wind and engines. "Red light directly ahead!" Captain Barber looked up sharply. "Where away?" "Dead ahead, sir. Hard to starboard."